How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel. In this video, we are going to be talking about the overall stock market. We're going to go over and look at some of the key things that is going to potentially affect the stock market for this upcoming week. We're going to go over exactly, are we going to potentially be hitting all-time highs in the stock market? What are some important tariff news that we need to watch out for? Some important economic data that's coming out, and also look at some of the stocks that we talked about in the past and what kind of price action to expect as we go into next week. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be covering all this detailed information in this video coming up. As you can see over here, we have this stock market hitting all-time highs last week. When you look at the S&P 500 SPY ETF, the 52-week high was set on last week on Friday. Basically, we're sitting at the highest price that we're looking at is $616.39. We definitely had a pullback because of the tariff news that came out from Canada. So one of the important things to watch out for going into next week is going to be the tariff news that could have an impact on the overall stock market. So the thing about this is just like at any point, at any time, the president can come out on his social media and tweet or post something that could significantly shift the overall stock market. And that is exactly what happened on Friday. When you look at the price action, at one point, the stock market was hitting all-time highs, and all of a sudden we sold off consecutively. And that was definitely some of the type of price action to expect for the next few weeks to come, because there's still going back and forth between Canada and the US when it comes to tariffs. Another important to watch out for this upcoming week is going to be the bill that they're trying to pass, which is the Big Beautiful Bill. And if they could potentially move forward and pass the bill, that can definitely help the overall stock market, to potentially get one uncertainty off the table. We might potentially see some either positive or negative reaction in the market, but we're definitely going to be getting a reaction of the market based off of the finalization of that bill. So definitely keep an eye on it for this upcoming week. Another important things to watch out for this upcoming week, of course, is the important economic calendars that we need to watch out for. Some of the reports, economic data that could definitely swing the market up or down depending upon how investors see this report. Some of the important things to watch out for is going to definitely be the initial jobless claims data, U.S. employment data that's coming up on Thursday. But we do have another important thing that we need to watch out for this upcoming week also, which is going to be another important thing to watch out for. So let's go over and look at the important economic data. On Monday, we don't have that much. We have Chicago business PMI data that's coming out. Tuesday, S&P final PMI data, construction spending, job openings going to be on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have ADP employment. Thursday, we have initial jobless claims data, unemployment rates, which is important to look at, ISM services, S&P, U.S. services PMI, trade deficit. This is really important to look at. So definitely some important things coming up on Thursday. Of course, it's going to be a holiday on Friday. The stock market is going to be closed for July 4th, Independence Day, so it's going to be a short week, but definitely going to see some form of volatility happening with the tariffs and all the extra stuff that's happening with the overall stock market. When you look at some of the companies that are going to be announcing earnings, so we don't have a lot of earnings coming up, but for the week of June 30, we have, Quantum Progress, we have MSC, UniFirst, Zeneva. This is a medical company, I think. It's going to be announcing earnings on June 30, on the week of June 30. So let's definitely keep an eye on it if you're interested in trading earnings. But let's talk about, some other important things that we talked about last week and some of the stocks that we covered. How did they perform? What did they actually hit the price target that we talked about? And what was the trading plan and the risk reward when it comes to these trades? So in my previous video, we talked about some penny stocks that we covered. The First one we talked about was this company that has FDA related news coming out. As you can see, these companies, they can potentially have a positive move up, or if they sell off, they can definitely drop significantly. As you can see over here, we are selling off. Unfortunately, their support area we're watching was around $1.70 area to potentially see a breakout above like $2 to $3. So unfortunately, the market did not react. We were expecting volatility, but unfortunately, the volatility was to the downside. If you're trading it based off of being a bullish sentiment on the stock, so it definitely went down, but we got the volatility. We might have a continuation. We might go back to $1.20, depending upon what investors look at. So another company that we talked about was TSHA. This is also another company that slightly sold off. It was just trading relatively good, going into that announcement. Unfortunately, it went to the support area that we talked about. So it's definitely a spot where you cut your losses if you actually trade it to the upside. And it might potentially create an opportunity for the downside if we actually break down below and for a potential sell-off to happen for this company. One of these stocks that performed good and that hit the price target was definitely ENLV. This is a company that definitely provided a very good risk reward, and it hit the price target that we talked about. So it was a very perfect trade if you actually took it to the upside. So when you look at it, we're risking around like $90 to $84. 84 cents in this area for a potential move to like $1.20, $1.30 areas. As you can see, it hit the price target that we set for it. So it was really fantastic to look at. So this trade, one of those three stocks, performed very well if you're trading to the upside. So it's fantastic to look at when you actually hits the price target that you set and potentially locked in profits if you actually traded it. So let's talk about the other important companies that we talked about for the long-term plays that we talk about, which is going to be SoFi. SoFi is a company that was almost about to hit all-time highs. I think, on Friday, it was definitely having a phenomenal day. It was going up with the overall market. The all-time highs for this company is $18.42, and we are definitely approaching that price point. So it's really fantastic to see, because this is a company that we talked about for several times when it was trading, at $5, $6, $10. This was a very long-term play to look at, and it's looking pretty good, and it's fantastic to see that it is hitting all-time highs pretty soon, and I think it definitely can have a breakout within the month of July. So I'm going to be posting another video going over the top 3 stocks to watch for July. So definitely keep an eye on it. The other company that we talked about that is also performing very, very well is going to be Meta. So Meta is also approaching the all-time highs, 52-week high, which is phenomenal. As you can see, the all-time highs is sitting at $739.68. So we might potentially be hitting that. So this is a fantastic stock. We're talking about it right around over here. So it had a pretty phenomenal run. This was a company that can definitely see some massive gains for 2025 too. For the long, it's like a long-term play too. So another company that we talked about also on our previous stock picks was PLTR. This is a company also that hit 52-week highs, all-time highs, $148.22, and unfortunately, it sold off. But as you can see over here, we hit all-time highs, really fantastic, and we'll see how things are going to be performing when it comes to next week and also for the upcoming months to watch. So this is definitely good to review some of the stocks that we talked about in the past, but let's go over it and look at also the overall stock market, what to expect for this week. So are we going to be hitting all-time highs next week? I think we might flirt with all-time highs if we get positive news from the big beautiful bill, and also if we can get some kind of clarity with the tariffs with Canada. But if the sentiment is definitely not good, not positive, and they're saying that they're going to go back and forth and etc., there's going to be more uncertainty, we might potentially see some kind of a sell-off or just consolidation of this all-time highs for the overall stock market. That's going to be just my guess, my assessment. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think is going to be happening in the comments? I'd love to hear your opinion. I'm going to be making another video going over some of the important things to watch out for, some of the top stocks to watch for July 2025. So be on the lookout for that. But if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, make sure you hit the like button. Catch you guys on another video. Have a wonderful day.